Welcome back to the Artie Lange Show. And my next guest, he knows boxing, he knows hoops mostly. He knows everything. But
yeah.
The man's a regular on the show, and we love him here. And we'll probably talk hoops. A lot going on. Chris Mannix from Sports Illustrated. What's up, Chris?
I didn't know you had last week's guest from To Catch a Predator working your board over there.
What do you mean? Is that
Movember?
I get the Movember thing, but does he not look like the
one
of the creepy guys?
That does, yeah.
The guys that Chris Hansen sits down across from and says, "Do you know who I am?"
You know what's it does look like that. No, you know what's weird about that show is that how creepy all those guys are. When Chris Hansen walks out, I'm surprised like more of those guys don't give him a high five and go, "Threesome." No, it's
do you ever
not
get
a threesome.
do you ever get like sucked into those shows? Like they'll
I thought you meant that every get sucked into one of 13-year-old on the internet.
No, but like every like couple of months, like MSNBC will show like one of those 7-8 hour marathons.
Oh, I love it.
And it's like watching a train wreck. You're watching these awful human beings, but you can't pull yourself away from it.
People always wonder why shows like that get viewership and why we're capable of watching them. And the answer is so simple. You don't have to be Freud. It's because you're so happy that's not you.
Right.
Yeah.
You're watching somebody who's a bigger loser than you.
Yeah.
And that's just great.
Exactly.
You go,
Right.
that guy is in so much trouble. Thank God I'm not him. What a loser.
There's the one guy that gets caught 2 times in the same episode, which is it's just
Right.
beyond me how you do that.
That's why I know.
That's just so creepy.
I mean, he's really a pervert. I mean, again, hookers have done things to me where, they've said out loud, "God, do I love crack." And the only explanation for them doing it is they love crack.
Well, it's just the guy walks in, they like, "I'm just here to talk to somebody," and then Chris Hansen reads the chat transcript, and it's the worst thing you could ever possibly imagine.
And he's the worst guy to read it to because he's so condescending and like you're in trouble. Here's why. Oh, baby, I'm going to bring over some shampoo. Is your hair clean? I like clean hair. And the guy lets him read it. But I go, okay, can we stop? I get it.
Uh-huh.
I have more here.
I know what I said.
Right, exactly. I know what I said. I went through 5 drafts of this.
Yeah. He's sometimes got like a novel. He's got a whole novel of stuff, like chat text.
How creepy are the girls who play the little girl?
Oh, man.
Like the 24-year-old who plays the 13-year-old when she answers the door, "Hey, I've got a playground."
That's what you get when you don't get the big roles in Hollywood.
Right. Oh, and the guy's face. He's so happy. Yeah, I'm here. It's like, this 48-year-old guy with glasses. And, how you doing? I just came back from cheerleading. He's got like a bottle of Moet. Like, hey, where do I put this? And he's so excited, like, wow, this is happening. I can't wait to text the guys at the clinic. Yeah, no, that's how you know that's a real sickness.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
All this from James.
Yep.
Yeah. He does kind of look like
James's mustache. Yeah. I think it looks good. Classy.
What's the youngest girl you've ever dated, James?
Yeah.
What about that?
I'll have my finger on the dump button. Don't worry.
Well, maybe he was 16 when he was 16.
Oh, yeah, I would say probably around that. Yeah.
Yeah, you were 16, she was 16?
High school, yeah. Sophomore, junior year of high school, something like that.
What was your look back then? I imagine it was like a Met shirt, orange sneakers, like a Wally Backman jersey, right?
Yeah, probably a lot of that, a lot of football jerseys and stuff like that.
I was the same way.
Yeah.
I thought that was fashion.
He had a starter jacket.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I didn't take a lot of
Patrick
fashion.
Ewing jersey.
Right.
Larry Johnson jersey.
Maybe a Ramones concert shirt, something like that.
The jersey question always fascinates me too. When is it too old to wear a jersey? Like, when are you ridiculous?
According to listen, I'm 46, and apparently the age is not 46 for my friends. They all wear their favorite jersey still, all the time.
I don't get it.
It's crazy.
When do you have to stop wearing another man's name on your back?
Yeah. No, they do the thing where it's clearly the guys, like it's 13, but not Marino, it's their name.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm not really sure what to think of that.
That's even more pathetic.
No, the classic jerseys are still cool.
They are?
Yeah, the ones from the 70s. I mean, if you're wearing Kenny the Snake Stabler or something.
Oh, okay.
That's cool.
Right.
You
I
know?
could live with that, but I can't live with what you're saying, like a 46-year-old guy wearing a 21-year-old kid's jersey on his back.
That's a little weird. You know when I really realized I had a gambling problem was the first time I bet on college hoops, and I realized I was betting on kids younger than me. And I'm yelling at a kid who was 10 when I was 18. Score, you idiot. That's when you know you really got a problem. Well, what about hoops, Chris?
What about this game?
This is first of all,
Brooklyn
Nets are in
losing
trouble.
to the Kings.
the Nets, but let's talk Knicks.
I'm with you. We're
They're
talking Knicks.
really pathetic.
They're bad, man.
Oh man,
They're in a lot of trouble. I mean, Tyson Chandler going out took away their only real defensive presence up there, and they're. I think they won tonight. I didn't get a chance to see the end of that game. They
lost.
Oh,
right?
they lost tonight. They were winning by a bunch when I switched over.
Oh, they won. Oh, they won.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was switched over to Philadelphia. Won again tonight. I don't know how they're winning, but
Really, I know it's weird.
the Knicks' defensive problems are not going anywhere. This is a team that is built entirely around Carmelo Anthony, and Carmelo Anthony can't do anything. I mean, he's a one-man scoring machine, but you're talking about Andrea Bargnani and J.R. Smith.
You need the other guy.
This is a mediocre team, and let's spin this forward a little bit, Artie. Next year, the Knicks are going to have to pay Carmelo Anthony over 5 years, $125 million.
Ain't happening.
They'll do it. They'll do it. Absolutely, they'll do it.
I bet he wants out.
No, why would he want out? They'll give him all that money. They build this entire team around him.
Go to Miami. Just make that team better.
Yeah, but there's only two teams that can really pay him.
Right.
It's New York and L.A., and they're the only teams with real cap space for next summer.
Right.
And why would you want to go to L.A. and play with Kobe when Kobe's at the back end of his career and you'd be starting over? When the Knicks, your quote unquote hometown,
And bitter.
have built this entire team around you. They've built this entire team around. They're giving you everything you possibly could have wanted over the last few years. But if you're the Knicks, you haven't won anything with Carmelo. If you give a guy like Carmelo 5 years when he's already past 30, he's not going to get better. He's not going to become a better player.
He'll only get better if you surround him with better
But
players.
who,
like
if you
Kevin
give him,
Love.
That's a myth. Like if you're
Guys, we got to take a break.
all right,
I got to take
yeah.
a leak. I swear to God, I got to take a leak. All right, just hang on to that. This is live total. Welcome back to the Artie Lange Show. Chris Mannix is here talking hoops. So you were saying, in your opinion, you were saying this during the commercial. Don't even re-sign Carmelo. Just start rebuilding now. Say, look, bye. We got to just start rebuilding.
If I was running that team and this season goes the way I think it's going to go, where they make the playoffs and they get beat in the first round,
I think they'll make the playoffs.
and if Carmelo, I think they make the bottom of the Eastern
Everyone
Conference.
makes the
Well, the
playoffs now,
bottom
right?
four in the Eastern Conference is bad. You're talking Detroit, Atlanta, maybe Washington if they get their act together. I mean, Philadelphia right now is making a run, but whatever. I wouldn't. I don't believe Philadelphia is going to be sustainable. But if he wants 5 years and $125 million, which is going to gobble up a huge amount of your cap space, and your entire plan is to wait for the summer of 2015 and expect someone to come and play with Carmelo Anthony, that's a bad plan. Because in the summer of 2010, you had all this cap space, and nobody but Amari Stoudemire wanted to play there. LeBron passed, Wade passed, Bosch passed. They all passed. They didn't want to play. Carlos Boozer passed. None of those guys wanted to play in New York. And New York is still an appealing place to play. But if you're Kevin Love and you've got a team in Minnesota, granted it's Minnesota and it's not as appealing as New York City, but if you've got a team in Minnesota that's Ricky Rubio, who's I think is going to be a big-time star in this league, Nikolai Pekovic, who's one of the best unknown centers in the league. He's a double-double guy every single night, and Kevin Love loves playing alongside him. They're one of the best defensive teams in the league right now because of that pairing. You've got Shabazz Muhammad, who could develop in the next couple of years. Derek Williams, the number 2 pick in the draft a couple of years ago. You've got a head coach in Rick Adelman who provides far more stability than Mike Woodson does right now. He's a Hall of Fame coach, or close to a Hall of Fame coach maybe, in Rick Adelman. Why would you want to go to New York? Just going to New York doesn't mean anything to these guys anymore. They want to go places where they can win. It's why Kevin Durant re-signed in Oklahoma City. It's why Russell Westbrook re-signed right after him. They want to win. And unless something dramatic happens in the next couple of years, Minnesota is going to be exponentially better positioned to win than the New York Knicks are.
And they don't care. You're right. Young kids don't care about the history of the guard and everything. It doesn't matter to them. Right?
It matters less and less.
And it gets cold here, and everybody likes being warm all the time, you know?
Well, I think what the CBA did, the new collective bargaining agreement, is how much money you can get by staying with your own team. It's, extra $30 million. Now, Dwight Howard took less to go to Houston because that situation was totally untenable for Howard with the Lakers and with Kobe Bryant. But for the most part, you see more guys re-sign with their current teams because they can get those extra dollars and that extra guaranteed in a year. Now, from the Knicks' perspective, if you can set aside and logically reason that you're probably not going to get Kevin Love in the summer of 2015, do you look at this Carmelo era and say, all right, can I win a championship over the next 5 years with this guy as my number one option? I don't see it. I mean,
not with the rest of the
it's
guys.
It's not a rip necessarily on Carmelo Anthony because he's proven himself to be an elite scorer in this league. But look at the history, Artie. Denver only got out of the first round once in the 7 years that Carmelo played there. Last year was the first time the Knicks got out of the first round. And if Rajon Rondo had been healthy, they wouldn't have gotten out of the first round. Yeah. This year, it's probably going to be another first round exit in a row. I mean, what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result? That, to me, is what the Knicks are looking at. You give Carmelo all this money, you'll be fringe contenders, you'll be in the playoffs every single year, but you're not going to win a championship. And if that's the ultimate goal, why would you want to put yourself in that position where you're going to have to redo this whole thing in 5 years anyway?
Making the same mistake over and over again and expecting different results.
Yeah.
That's why I stopped wearing Drakkar.
Well, along those lines, the same mistake over and over. Tonight, Carmelo was 9 for 25. He takes a lot of shots, and that's
how they built the
rolls.
team. They built that team around.
They want him to.
Why not? But why not change that? I mean, why not design some?
Who's going to shoot?
Well, a couple of reasons.
Work your offense. I mean,
a couple of reasons. Amari Stoudemire is basically done. I mean, the knee. I mean, Phoenix called this exactly right. They didn't want to give Amari that 5-year contract that the Knicks did because they thought years 3, 4, and 5 he wouldn't be able to play.
He's just generations Allen used.
His knees just failed him. His knees are gone. They're totally shot. And even if he does, make it back some way towards the end of the season and become a little bit of a better player, he's never going to be that explosive guy anymore. So you can't throw it to him in the post. And then you're talking about the other options on that team who are staggeringly inconsistent. Bargnani, for Toronto, that was addition by subtraction moving him out of there because he wasn't a great defensive player anyway, and they got a first-round pick for it. J.R. Smith, the face of inconsistency over the years. I mean, the guy's had a great year last year as a sixth man, but over the course of his career has not been consistent. You have to give the ball to Carmelo and hope every night he has a great night.
Yeah, and that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
It's just not going to win you a championship. And if a lot of people disagree with me. And one of my colleagues at SI, Ian Thompson, thinks I'm crazy for saying this. Thinks you absolutely re-sign Carmelo and hope you get a second star to play alongside him. I just don't see it. I don't see a second star wanting to play with, a 32, 33-year-old Carmelo Anthony later on.
Give me an example of that second star. Who would it be?
In theory, hypothetically, 2015 is Kevin Love. 2016 is Kevin Durant. Those are two guys that'll be free agents.
Right. So Durant and Carmelo together should win something.
Durant and Carmelo together should win something, but Durant is also that guy that just wants to win championships. And if Oklahoma City, which drafts as well as any team in the league, they're one of the better drafting teams, whether it's late in the first round, second round, Sam Presti, one of the best general managers in the entire NBA. Why would Durant walk into a situation that is completely crazy? And I'll tell you this much. I've been saying this for a couple of weeks. This is not coming from inside the organization at all, but I firmly believe John Calipari is going to wind up coaching that team next year.
Right.
Because Calipari could go out with a championship this year, and the CAA, the agency, they have a lot of their tentacles all over the New York Knicks. Right. Carmelo is represented by CAA. Mark Workentine, the general manager, is represented by CAA. There's a couple other guys, Worldwide West, William Wesley, who's an agent at CAA. He's very involved in the
Isn't that
the
where
operations
Jay-Z
there.
has his deal too?
He has a deal there too. But Jay-Z's less on this side of it, less on the basketball side than on baseball now. But CAA is very involved in that organization, and John Calipari is a CAA guy.
Right.
And I could see they hired Steve Mills to be their GM, who's never ever run basketball operations before for an NBA team. And Steve Mills would, I think, happily step aside and be more the business side of things, where Calipari could run the show as the de facto president, chairman of the board, whatever you want to call him.
Yeah, I don't know.
And that's not a good idea.
It seems so complicated.
And that's a bad idea, because as great a college coach as John Calipari is, he wasn't a very good NBA guy. Right. He was bad with the Nets back in the day.
I wouldn't trust him on an NBA team. I don't know. With good recruits and kids, he's a different. He's a college guy.
He should. I don't understand why these guys consistently want to go to the pros when they're so great at it. Rick Pitino, I think, still wants to go to the pros. Calipari obviously still wants to go to the pros. He tried to get in Chicago before they hired Tom Thibodeau.
Right, exactly. Pitino's a college guy who can make so much money. He's the king of the campus.
He can make $5 million a year down there, and essentially, when you have, and Calipari is a great recruiter, great closer in recruiting, but he's got assistant coaches that are phenomenal recruiters. And all you have to do is kind of close that deal at the very end by being John Calipari. And I don't know why it's not enough.
Maybe
why is it not enough?
The bottom line is that's not something they enjoy doing. I mean, going around to high schools and telling kids, blowing smoke up kids' butts.
They want to be on the show.
But they
want to deal with adults, but adults are a bigger pain in the ass to me.
That's it. There's a give and take there.
And they're all making all that money already.
Because you walk onto Kentucky's campus and you see a Kentucky game, and the first thing you see is John Calipari. You walk into a pro game, and if Calipari's coaching it,
Right.
The 5th or 6th thing you see is John Calipari.
Sure.
It's a players' league in the NBA, and guys like Pitino and Calipari, who are extremely good college coaches, could never reconcile that. They could never figure out that this was a players' league and not about them.
Right. To me, that answer's simple too. It's an ego thing.
Yeah.
You know, they like being the head honcho, and that, a lot of great coaches are.
And you can do that. I was down in Kentucky recently, last year, doing a story, and Calipari is a god down there. I mean, he's a god.
Yeah. And I'm sure Pitino is everyone
Same
else
thing in
will.
Louisville, yeah.
Nick Saban, Greg
Saban.
Schiano.
Right.
Don't you believe that
Same
guys
thing.
like
It
Saban?
doesn't work.
But
It doesn't
Saban will
work.
want to come back at some point.
I don't think he will.
I think he'll still want to. I think these
I
guys
mean,
can't get rid of that bug.
He's crapping in
To
tall
the
cotton.
They
NFL
can't
after
get rid
that
of it.
experience
That's what I
in
said.
Miami, you
Dude,
think he'll
look
go
at how
back?
bad it ended in New Jersey for John Calipari. In Boston for Rick Pitino. These guys still
He's
want it.
crapping
They
in
want
tall
to prove.
cotton, Saban.
I don't think Saban. I think with everything coming out about Saban going to Texas and him just saying, "Hey, I'm too old to start over anywhere else." I think
His
there's
agent, though,
validity
seems to
that.
play these games pretty well. Like, he puts names out there. Saban gets a fat contract extension. He'll
Here's a
make the
game.
NFL.
Here's a game I play well. DraftKings.com.
Oh,
This football season, DraftKings.com could be crowning you a fantasy football millionaire. Yep, the winner of DraftKings Millionaire Grand Final will be winning $1 million. DraftKings is the new fun way to play fantasy football. It's one-day fantasy sports, so even though the season started, you can still play and not miss a beat. You can win serious cash every week. Are you listening to me?
yes.
Hello? Not you. DraftKings makes watching football way more fun and exciting because you stay in the football action every week. So it's super easy. I know you're having trouble with this, John. Let me explain it to you.
Yes.
Just select the right players, and you could wake up tomorrow with hundreds of thousands, maybe $1 million in your wallet. That would be big bills, I assume. But yeah, get a bigger wallet, my friend. True story. One guy won $100,000 in his very first time. $100,000 day one. Celebrate with DraftKings this football season and their Millionaire Grand Final. Right now, my listeners get free entry into the Millionaire Grand Final. Enter Artie at DraftKings.com for your free shot to be crowned a fantasy football millionaire. But you got to enter Artie today at DraftKings.com. For details and free entry, visit DraftKings.com. DraftKings.com. Back after this.
The Artie Lange Show, weeknights on Audience, only on DirecTV.